All right, welcome back to the program, friends. Welcome to Follow the Money Radio. Great to have you back. And today we are joined again by our good friend, Mike Mitchell. He is a financial advisor. He's been helping people all around the country for decades with retirement planning, even small business situations. We talked about business owners and some of the unique challenges they face on a recent discussion. But today we want to bring Mike Mitchell on and we want to talk about inflation. And inflation is just simply raging. Mike, it's great to have you on the line today. Thanks for joining me.
Good to be here, Jerry. It's good to see you again, and glad to have an opportunity to talk about what is obviously going to be a issue that is of great concern to a lot of people.
It really is. It really is. We get a lot of questions here at Follow the Money from people who are concerned, about what's happening, and clearly they're concerned about the amount of debt that the United States has. They're concerned about potential incursions now with Russia in Ukraine. There's always something going on. And then, of course, they're seeing the inflation numbers, which are just robbing them, which is really just robbing them of their hard-earned dollars.
Right.
And many people are concerned. Now, we were talking about this off the air, that if you're a young person with a 30, 40-year time horizon, well, this is, again, probably not something to be worried about. But if you're someone who has money in the market, and you're living on that money, or maybe you're withdrawing that money because you're in retirement or nearing it, this could be pretty scary. This could be a little concerning and alarming. And what kind of advice or wisdom do you have, Mike, for your own clients in this kind of environment? What are you telling those who are concerned about inflation and all of the economic issues and tensions we see today?
This is the conversations that I have certainly with people who are approaching their retirement years or people who are in their retirement years. But we're having this conversation also with a lot of people who are earlier in their careers, maybe the midpoint of their careers, where they're still trying to accumulate money. And one of the things that we're talking to a lot of people about is the whole issue of strategically positioning what you're doing for the end game. And I maybe end game might be not necessarily the right word or phrase that I'd want to use, but at least the latter part of your life to be positioned so that you're at least going to have an opportunity to mitigate against inflation. And I tell people this all the time, Jerry, you can't eliminate inflation. Inflation is a reality of life. It's either under control or somewhat under control, or it's out of control, kind of like what we feel going on today. But positioning yourself from a strategic standpoint so that you are better able to deal with what inflation is ultimately going to do to you is really the most important thing. And so what I try to tell people that I talk to and advise, there are really four really important areas that I think people ought to focus on when it comes to dealing with the issue of inflation as they certainly approach their retirement years. The first one is they ought to be in a good debt position. They need to have as much of their debt eliminated and gone, if you will, when they approach that year or that time frame in their life. So trying to get themselves well positioned from a debt structure standpoint is vital. The other is something that a lot of people I don't think about very much, and that is their health. And I'm not just talking about, going to the doctor and things of that nature. I'm talking about a lifestyle of health where you're eating well, you're exercising well, you're sleeping well, you're keeping stress out of your life. So as you're going into your retirement years, you're not literally out of gas from a physical standpoint, from a health standpoint. So taking care of your health. The third point that we like to talk about to folks is you really need to have something in place so that if the eventual reality strikes that maybe you need health care or you need home health care or, even possibly an assisted living or a nursing home situation, you really want to have yourself in a position where you can utilize insurance products. We like to use insurance products because they spin off multiple benefits as you're building them, so that you have access to dollars that should be earmarked for use of long-term care. So those are the three vital important things. The last one is this, and this again comes back to the whole strategic conversation, positioning. I like to try to get all of my clients in a position that when they are ready to take retirement income, they take that income as much as possible from instruments that are going to spin off tax-free dollars to them, tax-free income flow. Again, you can't mitigate. I mean, you can't eliminate inflation, but you certainly can mitigate against it. And if you can eliminate a lot of the tax impact that your dollars are going to be receiving, at least that helps you get a position or a leg up on what inflation is already doing to you. So trying to avoid paying excess taxes while you're also dealing with excess inflation is something that you want to keep a good eye on. So positioning, strategic positioning of those 4 points is what we really try to talk to our clients about. And our whole planning process is designed around that. We try to get our clients in those modes when we're trying to get them set for the eventual long game, which is obviously going into retirement in a comfortable and healthy and safe position.
I can see how all of those help. You know, the debt issue, so many retirees, especially now, are entering retirement with heavy levels of debt. They're kind of that sandwich generation, you know, where you're taking care of the, you know, mom and dad, and maybe taking care of son and daughter. So they often have taken on excessive debts or even co-sign loans or whatever that they're on the hook for, and that can put pressure on them. That's huge. And I know that debt repayment is something that's very, very important. Is that something that you help people or guide people with your clients if they, I mean, obviously you're not a debt counselor, but if someone has some debt issues, that's something that you help with, I would assume.
It is. One of the very first things that we do in our planning process is start trying to look at what the debt positions are and really kind of categorizing what the debt is. Because in my mind, there are two types of debt. There is what I call black debt, which is basically consumer debt. And that's just debt that you would find on a credit card or, something that is not attached to an asset like real estate debt. Real estate debt is leveraged debt, and it can be used beneficially from an economic perspective to help people. So we try to first eliminate all that black debt as possible, as quickly as possible, because it's like being in a black hole. It doesn't help.
And then the health issue. I mean, this is probably, Mike, the thing that is in the power of the individual the most. I mean, the healthcare system and the inflation in the healthcare system is just simply incredible, and it's breathtaking. And even the insurance that we pay, you think, well, I have insurance, but then of course the insurance payments are going up, the premium payments are going up, and the benefits are going down in some cases. So it's so challenging to enter into retirement with health that is compromised, because then you're at the mercy of this medical industrial complex that then you're facing inflation no matter how you face it, right? So health, talk to me about some of the things that you recommend. I mean, obviously exercising, eating healthy. You have seen people who, have succeeded well into their late years as your clients. What do they do? What do they have in common? They don't stress out about the news. What do they not do?
Well, yeah, one of the things is I would say is limit the amount of news intake that you have, because it does create stress.
Sure, it does.
But really, it's a matter of when you eat well, eat what I call clean, which is a good balance of the various food items that you can have. A lot of people like to eat out, and a lot of people eat on the run, and a lot of people eat fast food. That's just 3 legs of a dangerous trip that you're going to be on. You really need to work on, the food intake that you have so that it is good and clean and healthy and building your body. The next thing is, obviously, as you've mentioned, it's getting some exercise. And we're not talking about heavy duty weightlifting and things of that nature, although, weight training is also a good aspect of it, but just moving on a daily basis. People tend to be sedentary, and you've got to break out of that and make sure you're moving every day. So something as simple as walking 30 30 minutes to 45 minutes a day can do tremendous things for you. So that will go a long way toward keeping you out of the doctor's office, off of medications, and out of that what I call, the mega health industry, trap that you fall into that can lead down to a dark place.
So true. So true. And health is one of those aspects that we do have mostly have control over it. Sometimes we don't, but we do have a lot of power on what we eat, how we spend our time, and taking that 30 minutes and investing it in walking or jogging or swimming or some activity. It helps your overall financial plan. It actually, when you go out and do that walk, you can even think about it, doing it for Junior, doing it for your son, doing it for your spouse. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for somebody else. Right.
That's exactly right.
At least you're thinking about those things. That's so powerful, Mike. And these are things that are so practical, that people can put into place. Now, if people are wanting to talk to you, because we always encourage people to talk to a trusted financial advisor. And Mike, there's not a lot of people out there who have gone through the full financial planning process. That there's many people just put it off. They don't do it. So if people are listening to this and they feel like, what, this might be a good time for me. It's the beginning of the year here. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and I want to meet with Mike. I want to talk to him and find out how all this works. What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way is just call our toll-free number and connect with us that way. And when we get those calls in, we're very quick to return those calls and connect with folks. And just before I give the number, I just want to hit on one thing that you just mentioned that caused me to think of this. I get a lot of people, Jerry, that call in and they go, I haven't started this process, and I'm whatever age. I'm in my late 50s. I'm in my early 60s, or whatever. And they go, is it too late for me? And the answer to that question is no. It's never too late. Because when you start doing things from a strategic perspective, you'll be amazed at the number of options, avenues, and benefits that you can generate if you just know how to apply it right. So if people want to find out about that process, they can call us at 833-370-0777.
Perfect. Okay. And there's no cost to talk to you, just to call and ask questions, I guess. Of course, there's no cost. This is fantastic, Mike. I really appreciate your insights. Inflation raging right now, folks. There's a lot of concerns. People are worried about if inflation is going to keep going higher. Is it going to slow down? Is the Fed going to wreck the market? Is Ukraine and Russia going to go to war? You could pull your hair out worrying about all the different things that are out there. But the best thing to do is just take action and protect yourself. Do what you can to protect yourself and your family. That's all you can really do. And that's all that's really in your control. So if you want to do that, reach out to Mike Mitchell. I strongly encourage you. Mike, I really enjoy working with you, my friend. It's really been a blessing. And I know you've helped so many of our audience members over the years. And I want to thank you for your time today. Thanks again.
Thanks, Jerry. I enjoyed it. Take care.